Hey guys, it's Christina. This is Vox and Guest, and I am joined today by Forebodings. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello.
I feel like such a school teacher already. It's like, say hello, class. So, so you guys all know Sean. You know Sean. You know Dad here, but you may not yet know Tommy and Ray, but you will after today if it is the last thing that I do. So why don't you guys each tell everybody quickly what you do in the band so that they know?
Sure. I play guitar and I sing. I sometimes write a couple songs. Yeah, I mean, that's really what I do. I mean, I help with like managing Instagram for my dad, so I check that out, but mostly just play guitar and write music. Yeah.
And that's Tommy, just to make sure everybody knows. All right, Ray.
I play the drums and that's it.
He sure does. Yeah, there you
go.
I play the uke for some of our classical stuff.
Okay. I like that we have a game of charades going too. You were like, what do? You play the... And I was like, tiny banjo, tiny guitar, that could be anything, literally. But I guess Ray knew it was the uke, so that's a little easier. I might have failed that test. All right, Sean, this is it. Your big moment. Tell everybody.
I play bass, and I do a little backup vocals, and I've written some of the songs as well. So
yeah. So we have here, as you may have all figured out, a family band, and we have you guys may be the youngest people we've had on the show so far. I think Age and Nova seem pretty young, but I guys think you guys may have just squeaked in under the wire because I don't know. Is it gauche to tell people what your ages are? I think it's worth it though if you want to tell everybody because I don't know if anybody had a birthday, but the last I heard, Ray, you're 17, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and Tommy, you're still 20, or did you have a birthday?
I'm 20 still, yeah.
Okay. Sean, I'm not going to ask you. Don't worry.
Nobody needs to.
You're at least older than 20. We know that. Biologically, that's a fact. So we know that. So there you go. We figured out that much. So Sean is about 21, 22. Yeah.
I wish.
So, okay, listen. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't want to be raising a 20-year-old when you're 21. You don't wish that. Nobody does. That would be the weirdest situation ever. But okay, I don't know if you've prepared the guys, Sean, but listen.
Okay.
I do start every episode, and Tommy and Ray, I hope you're okay with this, with a really intense question. Okay, this is a professional situation here. I am a budding journalist of sorts. And I feel like I have to really hit home with things. So I want you to dig deep and think about this and answer it honestly, okay? All right, here we go. For each of you, what is your position on eating pizza with a knife and a fork?
The mayor is eating his pizza with a knife.
The travesty.
And a fork.
Okay. Well, I guess I've never really done it. I'll say that.
Good
I
for
can't
you.
really think of
Good
me
for
doing
you.
it.
Okay, good.
But I mean, maybe like a deep dish pizza,
Okay.
I could see it's real big, it's huge.
Yeah,
and
that's a good point.
I can get that. But if it's like a small, you're going to Domino's or whatever, pick it up. But it's up to you. It's really up to you.
Like how Tommy's like, be a person, pick it up. What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
I appreciate that because deep dish pizza can be almost kind of like a lasagna or something where you would a fork would be acceptable. Okay. All right, Ray, what do you think? Fork, knife, pizza?
Yeah, even if it was a deep dish, honestly, just pick it up. I mean, it's like, why would you do that?
I like you, Ray. I like you. As a New Yorker and an Italian, people who eat pizza with a knife and a fork, I can't. Although I should let you answer, Sean, because you might be like, I do it all the time, but I'm assuming you've raised them right. Okay, here we go.
Well, for the most part, I do. Except the one exception is when you get the extremely thin crust and it's really, really hot. I'll do the first couple of bites with a fork and knife, and then I'll
Okay.
pick it up for the rest of it. But
Okay.
I would say for the most part, I do pick it up and eat it.
Okay. All right. I love that you would rather degrade yourself by eating the pizza with a knife and a fork than just wait like a minute and a half for it to cool down. You're like, fuck that. It's time for pizza. I'm just eating it. Give me
I don't know
utensils
if you
on
can
it.
tell, but I got a big belly, and I get hungry, and it's like, okay.
You know what? I'm not going to pizza shame you. The chat, the chat and pizza, it's a whole love affair. So I think that the to eat pizza faster may be the most understandable rationale for knifing and forking it. So I think we're okay. But all right, see you guys. I know I hit you hard, but you handled it well.
That was rough. That was rough.
Yeah, if you need a minute, it's okay. You can just bond as a family. That's fine. But so I want to get into, because we don't have to go back too far for two of the three of you, but talk to me about how each of you got into music in the first place, because you've been playing long enough, Tommy and Ray, that like this is clearly something that was baked in there. But like Sean, I don't know if you want to start it out first, since you were technically the first one alive of the three of them, since that's how it works and all. But
Sure.
how'd you even get into it in the first place? And were you always a bass player? Because generally the answer to that question is no.
Right. Yeah, that's true in my case. I played bass as things kind of started morphing with me and the boys. I used to play. Well, let me start out. I got into music. My dad, he was a big like Zeppelin and Heart and Jimi Hendrix, Cream,
Okay.
and all that. He was really into that. And he got me a guitar when I was really young. It was one from the Sears catalog. It was really bad. It was actually very discouraging. Yeah, but so he was kind of my first
say
guitar.
cool grandpa, but yeah, the Sears guitar kind of dinged him a little bit there. But okay, all right. But he did buy you a guitar. That's something.
He got me one, and he wasn't like he wasn't. I don't want to say he was a bad guitar player, but he was all right. But so he didn't know, if a Sears guitar would be. But so it had really bad action. It was so hard to play. It discouraged me, really.
I didn't even know Sears sold guitars. Like I didn't even know that was a thing. Wow.
It was called Harmony. In my day, it was called Harmony guitars, and I had this little Gorilla amp.
Okay.
And when he first got it for me, I was really, really into Eddie Van Halen, and I didn't even know what distortion was on a guitar.
Okay.
And I'd play it, and I'd be like, "How come it doesn't sound how EVH sounds at all?" And I just didn't like. I had no friends that were into the electric guitar, so.
Okay.
And I guess my dad didn't know either. But anyway, he got me into guitar. He showed me like the first part of Stairway to Heaven when I was a kid, and
just the first part, though. Okay.
Just a little acoustic intro because he had an acoustic guitar. So he showed me that, and it just went from there. And I took on a lot of my dad's influences. I love to this day, and I still listen to all that 70s hard rock, pre-metal kind of music.
Why not?
I love all of that stuff, like a lot. And then later he got me a nicer guitar, and I joined a high school band. We were by that time I was into thrash metal, Metallica and Megadeth and all of that kind of stuff. Okay. We played progressive. We played kind of progressive thrash metal.
Oh, cool.
I quit the band. But they went on and they had an album. They're called Immortal Cringe, if anyone, but they're not together any longer. But yeah, it was like really complicated thrash metal. It became even more complicated because some of me and my friends went to college for classical guitar. So I studied classical guitar for a few years.
Okay.
Along with computer science, I had like two things, and then I started having my children, and I played less and less for many years. But then I ended up getting
the
Tommy guitar.
The guilt. Now I'm going to go ahead and assume I'm going to assume it was not a Sears guitar that you bought for Tommy, because you're breaking generational curses. So Okay.
No, I knew
Okay.
better. I knew much better. I got him well, at first he was playing this Ibanez guitar I had. And then I
For a minute,
got
I thought
him.
you were going to say like Macy's or something. And I was like,
Oh,
no,
no. Step up. Yeah.
well,
Well, my
guitar.
dad,
Yeah. Totally.
he had this really cool Ibanez. It was green, and that was what I play on first. I think Ibanezes are awesome. I cannot play on them. It's just me personally. I just can't play that well on them. The neck is different than what I'm used to. I
Okay.
actually play EVH guitars. They're called Wolfgangs.
Yeah.
Those have the perfect neck. I've never played anything that fit me better. So I
So
have
talk to me about that with the neck, though. Is it like a length issue? Is it like what's the
well, for me it was always too too long, too girthy. Well, not too long. Yeah, this way it was too long. So it was hard for me to reach and like play scales, even play like when I was very first beginning, I was a little discouraged because I tried to play just power chords and I couldn't even do that. It was very hard. So we went to Guitar Center where we used to live to check out guitars that I could like. And I played at the time an EVH Wolfgang Standard. It was black. I still have it because it's awesome. And it's awesome. I put it
I'm not disagreeing with you.
I put it on, I played it. And I just thought this is really comfortable, but I was young. So a couple others kind of caught my eye cause they look cool. So we talked about it. But I was like that guitar, I've never played any like better on anything. And I didn't really know a lot, but just that very few things I knew, it just felt way better. So we went there, we bought it. And that's when I really got into it because I had a real guitar and he showed me Judas Priest Breaking the Law. He showed me how to play that. And after I learned part of that, I was like, I want to play all the time. This rocks.
Okay.
This rocks.
So like how old were you about when that was happening?
So I was in like 7th grade. So I had to be like,
okay. So like 12, 13. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. 13. Well, I mean, the very first thing that even got me into music before even wanting to play music was my dad. Actually, I was in my room listening to some of the music I used to listen to all the time before I really got into other stuff. Okay. And like, it was weird. It was like, just out of nowhere, I just like wanted to ask my dad. I was like, do you have any song recommendations? Like I'd never asked him that. He always showed us music, but I'd never actually just been like, can you recommend a song to me?
Yeah.
So I think it was like a Pink Floyd song or a Led Zeppelin song. I can't really remember.
But I started you off right, though. That's good.
Yeah. Like, wow, this is just the coolest thing ever. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So I think it was a Pink Floyd song because I always had this acoustic guitar. He tried to get me into classical guitar when I was younger, but I wasn't, then I was a kid. I didn't want to do it, just honestly.
Yeah.
But, my dad knew I really liked this Pink Floyd song, Wish You Were Here. So he kind of enticed me to give it a try. He was like, I can show you how to play it if you want. Yeah, I can show you how to play it.
But that's so smart because you sit a kid down with like basic charts and you try to teach them basic chords and all this, and it's not going to mean anything. You don't want to play Twinkle Twinkle. You want to play Wish You Were Here, right? So I think that's a good gateway to get them. Nicely done, Sean. Very smart. So and then once you got that started, the bug had bitten.
I played that. It was awesome. He gave me the electric because I wanted to try an electric. Yada yada. We went to the store. All that ties in. But it was really cool. That's what got me into it. Was my dad. So like how he said his dad got him into it. Well, my dad got me into it. So.
Look at that. See? But so now I'm curious, Tommy, you said the stuff you used to listen to before. What was the stuff you used to listen to before? Do you want to, you don't even, am I outing you if you don't want to say it? You don't have to. If it was
used
like,
to be really embarrassing for me, but I don't care anymore. I've grown past that. When I was younger, I liked a lot, like, there's this band called Owl City. They made that freaking Firefly.
Oh yeah, the Firefly song. Yeah.
I love them for whatever reason. I really just love them. I listen to them all the time. But my friends at school, they were like, oh, you should listen to this band called like, and these guys were kind of harder. They were called like Falling in Reverse. They're like a harder, they're definitely like rock to metal, definitely.
Oh yeah, I know the
so
name, but I don't think I know any of the songs. Okay.
They're okay. I kind of grew out of them, but I don't hate them or anything. But I
Oh, that's
listened to
nice.
them, and they were, me and my friends, we all got into that. So I used to listen to, they call it like emo music, kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like Pierce the Veil and like Black Veil Brides. I kind of like, I never really fully loved it, like even to
Okay.
myself when I was younger.
I
but
know
like,
what you mean. If your friends all listen to it, and
yeah, it was kind of
I
just like, did it. So I just did it too. And there's definitely stuff I appreciate about this band still, because in a way they were even my introduction before my actual introduction into what I like, because they had cool guitar, playing, and they had awesome riffs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I also had the biggest, this is the embarrassing thing, I had the biggest obsession with The Nightmare Before Christmas when I was like in 6th grade. I love that movie. Like,
That's
loved
not
it.
embarrassing. That's isn't that all Danny Elfman? That's Danny Elfman, right?
Yeah, Danny Elfman rocks.
Yeah.
No, it's a great movie still.
Yeah.
I really loved it. I dressed up
Okay.
as, so I got the costume for Halloween, and I dressed
Okay.
up as him. I kept wearing, because I was like, this is awesome. I kept wearing it. I would sing
You
the songs.
were a cosplayer, okay? There is an official cool name for that now. It's not just I wore my Halloween costume all year. You're a cosplayer, okay? So it's cooler than it sounds, people. Trust me.
Yeah, but I loved that. Like, I'd sing it all the time, all those songs, especially like the Jack Skellington ones. I love the characters. So I would sing his songs all the time. I learned all of them. And that was, so that was basically what I would just listen to before.
You know what though? That's not that far off in some ways from Dio, really, if you think about it. Like the level of drama and makeup in some instances, it's sort of like a Kiss, whatever. I think you had the leanings, but okay. So Nightmare, I didn't know what you were going to say, but it could have been a lot less cool than that, Tommy. Don't worry. Yeah. I'm not judging you. Okay. So you started off in a slightly different direction, and then, dad plopped you on a path. And then I know we're going to talk more about influences in a bit, but because poor Ray is probably sitting there dreading the next moment. Do you want to get into you and the drums, or do you want Dad to say that or whatever? We're being, Ray and I bonded before we started over being introverted, and so I'm not going to poke Ray too much, but he'll pipe up as he wants to. So what do you think, Ray?
Sure. When I first started drums was like it was a while ago now. I was like in the 4th grade.
Okay.
And so I'd been for a little bit. I'd been trying to learn guitar with Tommy, but like I never really got into it. So so then I dropped it, and then like almost a year later, my dad asked me if I would want a drum kit, and at the time I didn't even know what that was. So I was like, like sure. And then so when he got it for me, it was this little PDP kit, and when I first started playing, I just really enjoyed it, because it was it was a lot freer than like the guitar for me, because it just felt better than like putting my fingers on the strings and like having to like shape my fingers in all these different ways.
You just
so then let me think.
So you were like 9-ish at that point, 9, 10, somewhere in there when you started with the drums?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, so I didn't really know much, but I would be so we had it set up in like the living room area, but I'd be on there all the time, just like hitting random stuff. And
Sean, that was a bit of a fail in terms of placement. Sean, putting the drum kit right in the living room, like we're trying to watch TV, we're trying to eat dinner. Jesus, right? Oh, okay, so all right, so you were on it all the time. Did you at some point move the kit to another room?
Yeah, eventually we moved it to like where did we move it? Like to like the basement.
Well, I think when we moved to this house, at first we had an open basement, and we moved it. We had
no. Very first, I remember. When we first moved, we moved it up to where my room actually is now.
Oh, yeah.
Upstairs, we had a little band room where we finally set up his drums, a nice area for it. We had my amp in there and one of my guitars, and we practiced. We'd play AC/DC's. You Shook Me All Night Long. All the time
yeah.
up there. Because we went to the same. We started going to a music school.
I was gonna say, was it like a School of Rock or something? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No. We looked at School of Rock before, but like when we moved, we weren't even close to one. And so like when we moved out here, there was this like local place too. I'm having trouble remembering the name, but we went there, and I met a guitar instructor I really liked for a while, and my brother, he got a drum teacher. And they like conspired together, and like talked with my dad too. And we're like, we have this thing coming up, a recital. You guys can play a song. If you practice together, you two can play a song together. And we learned "You Shook Me All Night Long" as much as a two-piece can. I mean, no one's saying or anything. But we did it as best we could.
The instrumental version. That's okay. That's still pretty impressive.
Just to play. But I mean, I won't speak for Raymond, but that was amazing when we played there. That was what made me want to play music for sure. Like a lot of people.
Yeah.
So what about you, Ray? What that was for you too? That was a big.
Yeah, that was great. That was one of my highlights of when I was really getting into playing, because like practicing and stuff was always fun, but like. Before that, it wasn't like I wouldn't look forward to it as much. I would I'd play it and have fun, but I wouldn't I wouldn't be like super into it.
Waiting,
But when I actually got up there and we played the song and everything, that was a lot more fun to me, because it was like. It was both me and Tommy, and it was like we're playing like an actual song like live and stuff. So that's when I really got more into it. And
I always listen for that, because not everyone loves playing out. Not everyone does. Sometimes people they'll be in their room, they'll be in a rehearsal space. It's very chill. They like that, but getting on stage and performing, not so much. The people who get on stage and go, more of that, I'm like, you're a musician forever now, dude. Like, whether you want to be or not, because that moment where you go, this is what I want to do all the time. Not everybody reacts that way. So I'm actually, especially, I'm glad for you too, Ray, because that like getting out in front of a bunch of people can be like, but it sounds like it lit you up. So.
Yeah. So I guess after that, so I played, what was I trying to say? So I went to that lessons place for a couple more years. Okay. And then after that, for a while I had, I went through a few drum teachers, because like, I don't know, just like differing situations and stuff. And I had this one guy who came to my house and showed me some stuff, and that was only for a little bit, because like there was like really hard time with the scheduling and stuff with him. Okay. So then eventually though, and this is where I think I started getting the most practice in, is when I started going to, there's this lessons place at my dad's work. It was like because there's like levels, and then on the bottom floor there was like this lessons place. Oh, okay. And there sorry.
You're fine.
I went there, and I took lessons from this guy. He's the drummer from Pathos and Logos, if you know.
Yeah, I know the name. Okay, wow. Okay, that's so that was when you really started like regularly taking lessons, practicing, playing more, kind of getting into
a lot more consistently. Yeah. So then I would practice like a lot more because I was going there weekly, and every
smart.
week he'd give me stuff to do, and I'd like do that stuff like every week and
Yeah.
really practice for every coming week. And yeah.
So at
I
what
don't know what
point did you guys decide to start playing together officially? Like was that like a, was that you, Dad, or was it who kind of said, "Hey, geez, we have we have drums and bass and guitar and vocals, like we're good here." So
Well, I was initially playing guitar along with the guys, and I was like, maybe I should just get a bass, and then so that Tommy can do the guitar and you could fill in with the bass. But there was this, they had this July 4th competition in our town. And I forgot who sent it to me, but somebody sent it to me. And I was like, oh, hey, we should take a couple of the songs that we've been working on.
yeah.
Because it was like, you have to play 2 original songs, right? Is that what it was? Yeah.
That's the
Okay.
one we first started playing, though.
Oh yeah, I don't really
We
remember
first-
how it all kind of came together.
It
Tommy's
came
like,
together-
I do.
Okay.
It was because I forget how you just told us one day. I don't know how you figured it out, but you were like, Mishawaka, which is like I'm pretty sure it's a bar. Mishawaka does open mic nights, and
Okay.
it would be a good place because we had started playing together a little bit before then. I think it actually was because of the thing I said when we were doing, we shook you all night long. My brother and I, we started playing a lot more together, and my dad noticed, and I think it kind of just formed that way. Just like he noticed,
Okay.
why don't we play together? We all like playing together. I'd play guitar with my dad for practice. My brother would practice his drums, so we all just were like, let's just do something
Why
together.
not? Yeah.
Out of Mishawaka open mic night, and then we went. It was like a Thursday school night, but it was worth it. It was so worth it. We went out there and we played. Because we've always had Optimism and Evil Love have to be our oldest songs, and we played those two at Mishawaka pretty often. That was like kind of the 2 songs we kind of just had to mess around with mainly.
Okay. And then at that point, you guys had played together a little bit, and then there was this July 4th thing that you went to. Okay.
Yeah, we signed up for it, and we actually won. We won the competition.
Wow.
We played both songs that Tommy wrote, Pure Evil and Evil Love.
Okay.
And yeah, they won, and so then I think everybody got the bug to start trying to maybe.
Well, yeah, that's kind of a sign, I think, that maybe you should keep doing this. If you go and you it didn't sound like you'd been playing together all that long, and then you just win the whole thing. Like I think that's a good moment to be like, maybe we've got something here. So, okay, you know what? Before we get even further into anything, since we just mentioned it, and as you know, in the chat, people are clamoring for song. We are going to play Pure Evil today. Not that that's the name of the song, people. We're not going to actually play Pure. So why don't you guys tell me a little something about Pure Evil before we roll it, and then we can come back and talk about it a little bit more.
I wrote that song because I love thrash metal. It's my favorite metal genre. It's not necessary. I mean, some people could argue it's not necessarily like a thrash song, and I even see it's kind of more like, a newer, not newer metal, but like early metal. Sorry, early metal song.
Right.
But when I was young, I still
says
am,
the 20-year-old, but yeah, good. When you were even younger, yes.
I really loved like Metallica a whole, and I still do, but like a lot.
Yeah.
And I kind of was like, I want to make a song like that. So I just messed around for like probably a couple hours until I made up like the opening riff for it. And, I eventually I put lyrics to it. It's basically just a guy who's born in a cult. He can't really escape. It's kind of the whole thing. I just thought that'd be cool. I was like, that's some cool lyrics. Boom. Made the song.
Done. No, guys, listen, this is a cool video for a cool song. You're going to enjoy this one if you haven't seen it already. So this is Forebodings with Pure Evil. It's cool that you mentioned Metallica, because when I first heard this song, I was like, I'm getting Enter Sandman vibes, I'm getting Metallica, I'm getting that whole feel. And what's cool too is that you clearly have strong influences, but you're not biting those styles. You're just kind of referencing them a little bit. I heard a little Sabbath in there. Like and I mean this in the best way. I even heard on the vocals, I heard a little but like a cooler version of Billy Idol. I don't even know if they know who that is, Sean, but you can explain it later if they don't. But like,
Billy
it's
Idol.
all like, that's raw and intense and whatever. And so I really love the song. And then when I saw the video, I was like, okay, the was a Stable Diffusion or whatever. Like that's so cool with the monks and the morphing and the robes and whatever. So like when you guys started working together, because I know Sean, you and Tommy both do some writing. You don't, right, Ray, or you do? You do?
No, I haven't written a song.
Okay,
yet.
that's okay. But so I mean, how does that? So are you guys just writing separately? Do you sit down and you work together? It's whoever comes up with the song comes up with the song? Because I know obviously you said that, Tommy, you kind of banged that one out because you basically just wanted to. So, okay. So talk a little bit about the songwriting process before we get more into the songs.
Sure.
Well, I think, like for that one, Tommy had the main idea, the main thing, and he brought it to me, and I was like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah. And I just said, I think right here we should add this one. We do this one little like harmonized guitar bass riff.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah.
I was like, that would kind of spice it
I like
up
the diddle, but yeah, I know what you mean. Guys, you heard it. He just nailed it right there. It's like listening to it all over again.
Right.
It's very Wayne's World.
Anyway,
okay.
And then I had a song called Avalanche Tomb. And I think we were all sitting together, and I was like, it needs something else in here though. I had the bass parts, and Tommy suggested a little addition inside of that one. So I think we maybe start out like each of us have an idea, and even Raymond has a drum idea that we haven't got to yet that he wants us to try to work in some riffs. But I think for me and Tommy, it's been like, hey, I got this, and I may or may not add like his song Evil Love. That's 100%. I didn't add anything to it. I just did the bass part. And obviously Raymond always just comes up with the drums for everything.
Yeah.
So we start separate, and they collaborate and add this or that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's more, like it is. It's always it ends up being, you always collaborate, because even in our stuff that we have that is done, then that maybe only I worked on, like the Sinner, you totally did that. But we add our own things to it no matter what.
Sure.
Raymond always adds. I mean, it's not easy to just create drums, so it's always like, someone will have an idea, and sometimes it is lyrics first, sometimes it's a riff first.
Okay, I was wondering. Okay.
It's just like you always have, it's like you think of something that could work. You kind of, and I think how we do it is we kind of run it by ourselves to see if this could come out to fruition, if it could be a full song. And then once we kind of have a good idea, we bring it to everyone like, well, hey, here's a song idea I had. Because, I'm sure we've all tried to make stuff. And we're like, that's not great. So it's kind of like, you got to give yourself a bit of a trial to see if it really is something you're interested in before you kind of like collaborate in a group effort. But it definitely is. I mean, all of them. Even if someone had the original idea and the whole layout for it, without the other person, their addition is special. So that's what I
love that. No, I love that. And I hear that in the music, like I would venture to say, Ray, at this point that you have a kind of a signature sound already that you're developing, and I think one of the things, and part of it is because I'm married to a drummer, so I'm much more mindful of the rhythm section than I think some singers can be. But like, if you are not holding it down on bass and drums, everything else is just going to fall apart. Like, it's just, there's no foundation to the house at that point. And if you're up and you're moving, as I've said a million times on this show, it's because of the rhythm section, right? And so one of the hardest things I think to do on drums is actually hold it down and be steady. People think it's all about the big fills and flashy and whatever. And yeah, that matters and it's cool and whatever. But if you cannot just hang on a beat and stay on tempo and do what you need to do, everything else is gonna collapse around it. So I can hear that, that's a drum style, and it didn't sound like something where one of you, Sean or Tommy, were like, okay, Ray, do this on the drums. It's like, I love that. Or, like, okay, you're not necessarily writing bass parts for your dad, Tommy, or guitar. I don't get the sense that anybody writes Tommy's guitar for him. I think, Tommy, you're just, we're definitely like looking at, I mean, even your influences being, and I hate to mom you this way, but being as young as you are, that you're a Zappa fan, right?
Oh, I love Frank Zappa. Yeah,
right. So Zappa, EVH, but you also like who is it from Chicago? Terry Kath. Like you have all these influences who are like they're not people you would expect necessarily someone your age to be gravitating towards. Like, okay, Eddie Van Halen, fine. Like, I think that's a timeless favorite, whatever. But like a Jason Becker, like these sort of esoteric people. But I mean, like, it's very cool to watch two guys who are so young. I mean, now you guys are basically playing for half your lives already, which is funny to me since you're so young. But like the way that you guys play and the sounds that you guys go for and get are much more. Sean, I mean, you feel me here, right? As a fellow ancient, like we're not 20 or whatever. Like that the influences are much more interesting. They're much more like these are classic people. These are guitar gods. These are drum gods. And I don't know, Ray, who are you kind of, before we get back into that, who are you really like? Who do you love on drums? Anybody that you really you like? A Neil Peart? Are you a
yes? Neil Peart will always be my favorite drummer because he's just amazing. He's like he in just so many ways too. It's not just like one thing he has down, it's many. He has he can do different styles, he can do different different what am I thinking of?
Yeah, but he's very versatile, right? I hear what you're saying. Like he does different styles. Not
just super good at one thing. He's really good at multiple things.
Yeah. No, I love that because it's, I could have expected coming into a family band where 2/3 of you guys are not even like 21 yet, that the music would have been in a different direction, or something more current, whatever the hell that even is anymore. I don't even really know. All I listen to is indie music these days. But or that it could have been Dad's music that he was trying to get you guys to do. And the problem with that is like, because you guys are musicians in your DNA, right? If you don't feel it, if you're not passionate about it, if that's not what you want to do, it's gonna fall flat, right? But so I'm listening through Forebodings and I'm going, these guys are how old, right? Because it sounds like a band that maybe, I mean, had any of us been alive in the 70s to like go to a bar or whatever, like that you could have gone and been like, holy shit, these, you know what I mean? And I love that about you guys, that it's authentic, even though the music is way older than the two of you, but you seem to really feel it, and I love that because it lends such a it's a little bit of cognitive dissonance to see guys your age playing music like that, that does sound like Metallica, fine, but like more of a Sabbath, or I mean, and I was hearing Floyd, I was here, and I'm just like, what the fuck, but I love that so much. So I mean, when you're writing, is that because the songs aren't all the same either. It's not like you have one thing that you do and you do it over and over again and you do it really well, but it's one thing. They all have a feel, but they're different. So where does that come from in terms of like, and it's funny that you said that, Tommy, about like, is it thrash metal? Is it not thrash metal? Because like the metal community we know, and I promise there's a question coming here, but like the metal community we know is like very big on subgenre and subgenre and subgenre. And like nobody even knows what the hell kind of metal they are half the time. From I'm like, I'll interview a Shovel Monster or whatever, and they'll be like, what genre are you? He's like, I don't fucking know. He's like, we're metal. Like we're metal. Like we're groove metal or we're this metal, that whatever, but it doesn't really matter. But like, do you guys set out to write a kind of like, do you set out to write, I mean, I know you said for that one, a thrash metal or whatever, or is it kind of, you get a riff, you get a lyric, and then what's kind of how long does it take you to settle into what genre kind of sound you're going to do for each thing?
Well, I
told you there was a question. I promise.
I don't consider us a metal band, actually. I say we're more heavy rock.
But
and
you
kind
have
of like
elements of
weird.
different things. You got sludge, you
Yeah,
got
yeah,
doom,
for
you
sure.
got garage rock, you got all kinds 70s, you got all that. Yeah. No, I wouldn't call you a metal band either. But like what I'm saying is like, given that you don't land in just one thing, how do you figure out what that song is going to sound like when you're starting it?
That's a good question, because we have one song, and I don't know if you might not have heard it, because I don't know if we have it up, but we play it live all the time. It's an instrumental, and it's called Optimism, and it's almost kind of like a jam band song.
Okay.
It's
No, that one I didn't see. So no, that one I didn't see. I know that Tommy mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, it's a little funk. Yeah, it has this weird kind of funk to it, and then we have another instrumental that's more kind of Black Sabbath-y. And then so I don't know, like stuff just comes to us.
Is that Hell Right or
The Black Sabbath-y one's the instrumental called Saturn's Moon, I think.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're going to talk about that too, because that's got a whole cool concept and everything. But so okay. But so,
Yeah.
so say because let's go back to Pure Evil a little bit since we played it. So
Yeah.
Tommy, you said for that one you really kind of did intend you wanted to write something thrash metal right? Okay,
yeah.
but then yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So like talk to me about like
it's like when we write our stuff, I don't think necessarily, I think, for the most part, it's kind of like you identify maybe a lick you make with sort of that genre is what I'd say. Because when I did Evil Love, I wrote that one. That's that's the first song I ever wrote.
oh, no kidding.
That
Okay.
That one is definitely like when I heard it, I was like, this is like a hard rock, creamish type.
Oh my God. I was just going to say that's the Sunshine of Your Love song, right? Totally. 100%.
Yeah. I love so much music.
I heard it. Mm-hmm.
I love so much music that I feel like, I think all of us do, not just me, just all of us, that, I mean, why it sounds so different is just, we have an idea in our head and we can identify it with something we like. And there's a lot of stuff we like. So you can just put it on, hey, maybe let's do a slower song, with this. Or, hey, what if we sped this up? It's kind of more like we get a good thing that comes to us and we expand upon it. And then it falls into like that genre area.
Well, but see, what's cool about that, though, there are a lot of cool things about that. But in terms of genre is that because you're not restricting yourselves to one genre, you're not saying we're this band, even metal, you can't say that. You can't say we're a metal band because, I mean, it's so funny that I'm at a point in my musical life where I'm saying this because, 10 whatever months ago, I was not really listening to much metal at all. And now I'm like, well, but when you say metal, are you a doom metal band? Are you a black metal band? And the thing is I don't know that any of that matters at all in the real world, right? Because it's like, if you like something, you like it, and it doesn't matter what genre it is. But for somebody like me, where I'm getting more familiar with the subgenres of a genre like metal, when I say, okay, if you're telling me it's a death metal band, there are certain things I'm going to expect to hear and not expect to hear. If you're telling me it's a groove metal band, I'm going to be listening for the percussion, and I'm going to be listening for the rhythm section. I'm going to be listening for that sort of slightly funkier vibe or whatever, or symphonic metal. Where are my strings? But like you guys are saying, okay, I have an idea. This is kind of where I think it's going to go. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's actually thrash metal, even if that's what I set out to do. This is the song, this is the riff, this is where it goes. And that, I think, is so wise because you don't limit yourselves musically, and I didn't even realize that genre and subgenre were such a thing that people would go, well, you can't do that in this song. You're a doom metal band. And I was like, well, so what, the metal police are going to show up and like, what do you mean you can't do that? But like, it's almost like you're not authentic or legit, or you're not, I mean, it's not like you're coming out and, Justin Bieber is singing it or whatever. Like, it's still a metal song. No. So really, who cares? But like,
thing
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, you go
No,
ahead.
no. I want to hear what you. I think we have a little delay.
I
So
was
I
just
think
going to make a comment on so metal fans, and I was a big metalhead when I was young. I still like all the stuff that I liked from my youth and a few newer things. Not a ton of newer metal, but some. Metalheads can be so rigid in their thinking. And
that's what I'm hearing. Yeah.
and the subgenre thing kind of started around my time, because I remember first talking about thrash metal versus death metal, but its sense has just gone in a way that I don't even know what most of them are. And what was my point? It was just that, like, you were touching on all the, like, you can't do that and this, and like me and my group of friends when we were young, we were real rigid thinkers too. And it came to metal, and it was like, there's all these things, and that you can, or you don't want to be a poser, right? That was like the worst thing, is to be a poser. So things
pain
that
worse than death.
like the hair metal bands was, and this isn't right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is right, but in my group, if you did hair metal, that's poser stuff. And also, and why I always ask about drums, programming drums, unless you were in an industrial band, was considered real super lame, or triggering them, and there's all these rules.
The rules.
It's taken me a while, but I've gotten past. I actually mapped some of the drums in some of our songs, but I'm always curious to know what other people think. That's why I always ask about it in the chat. I'm just curious.
No, and I love that you'll always ask, like, does anybody else hear this? Or I love that though.
I think for the subgenre case, stuff like that, I think really, if you're labeled into that, it's cool. It's like whatever. Like, if you want to be a stoner metal band, you should definitely go be that. Totally. But I think you should also, not just, anyone. This goes to anyone. You should always try to think of new, unique ways to put it, to maybe combine a genre with something, do something weird. I've been trying to do that for a while. I mix something weird together. That's what I think would be just the coolest. That's the coolest music to me, is when it's like, who cares about if this fits into what? You should just try and make something that when you listen to it, it's awesome, it's cool, and you can. There's so much stuff you can take that people have that have made it in the past. I mean, even bands like Pink Floyd. I mean, they even what we were just talking about in industry metal, right? That Pink Floyd helped influence that. They use clocks, they use actual sounds of stuff inside their music. Industrial, industrial. Sorry, it's like you should see. There's things you can take from that you wouldn't expect, is what I would say.
I think you're absolutely right. It's because if you have 5 things from 5 genres and they're all pleasing to the ear, and you can make those 5 things work together, then it's 5 times as pleasing to the ear, right? Like, why wouldn't you do that? It's just, and again, we do end up having conversations like this one a fair bit on the show about, some people really do like the structure of a genre. And again, as you said, Tommy, cool, that's cool. Like, if it's a choice that you're making to be, rather than being like a general practitioner doctor, you want to be a specialist, you want to be a surgeon, and then that's the thing that you do. Go do that and enjoy that and love that and just play the hell out of that. Great. But if you feel like the example I always give, and it's such a stupid example, but it's the one that I think is most striking to me. And I don't think Ray and Tommy, you guys are going to know what the hell I'm talking about, but you might, Sean. When Garth Brooks, the country, Garth Brooks, he was the god of country, whatever. And Garth Brooks decided he wanted to basically make an alt rock album. Okay. And so he had this alter ego that he made named Chris Gaines, and he had black, he had that hair that everybody had for a while, where it was just, it looked like it was trying to escape your head and over your face, and the guy liner and the dark, black clothes and whatever. And he did this song that was neither country nor alt rock, which was kind of funny after all of that, called Lost in You. It was a beautiful ballad. And it was like he couldn't do it as Garth Brooks, because if he did it as Garth Brooks, he was like breaking the country law. You know, it was like you couldn't. And I just felt so bad for the dude, because I was like, dude, just fucking make your music. Like, who can? You're one of the biggest stars in the world.
Yeah.
Like, do what you want.
Yeah.
That's it. But it's like, and that kind of thing I think is ridiculous. Like, why do you have to create an entire other persona to make a different kind of music than the music that you usually make? It doesn't make any
It
sense.
seems silly.
And it is silly. It's ridiculous. And I mean, it was also stupid because everybody knew it was him anyway. So what the hell was the point? You know, like country fans were like, okay, Garth has lost his mind. And then all the non-country fans were like, oh, it's that country guy, you know? And he's like, it was like a Scooby-Doo episode. It's like, we know who you really are. So it didn't work. But like that, I think that's the only reason something like that comes out is because of genre. Like, what other reason would there be to do that unless he literally just did have some sort of like a little breakdown or whatever and wanted to be a whole other person? But like, you're not strapped in by any of that, because I'm going through and I'm listening to, you know, Secrets, and I'm listening to Saturn's Moon, and I'm listening to Avalanche Tomb, and I'm listening to Pure Evil, and I'm listening to all these, and I'm going, these are not the same song. I do have bands that are like this, you know, we make this kind of music, and this is, you know, and the songs will be somewhat different, but they're all in that lane. And you guys were not at all. And I love that you know, I think some of that is down to what we've been talking about in terms of influences, you know, because if you've got Floyd and you've got Priest and you've got Danzig and then you've got, you know what I mean? Like, you're all over the place, and it's not wildly different. You're not listening to like Britney Spears in there or whatever, but like it's if you have a discerning ear, you can obviously tell the difference among those. So like, to get back into like the specific songs a little bit more, we talked about Saturn's Moon like just for a second. Like, why don't we come back to that? Because where did that whole, like, obviously I know it was the like the orbiter and you had like an actual, but who was super into this NASA, you know, Cassini voyage? Like, okay, that was Dad. All right, so talk to me and tell everybody a little bit about, because you got like a whole, there was like a whole like storyline in there or whatever. I'm like, where did that come from? Where did that come from?
Well, the idea actually isn't from any of that. So we have they have a nephew, my grandson. Okay, he's level 2 autistic. Okay. And he's verbal people. And everything. Yeah. He's like a genius at memorizing things. And he got into the planets. And he would sit there and spit facts at me about planets. And when I was younger, I had this small phase when I liked the planets and stuff. And I knew a little bit about Titan, Saturn's biggest moon, and scientists think that it might actually have an atmosphere to where that could be inhabitable potentially. So it didn't come from that probe that went out. That was an afterthought. So I wanted to make a song. I just wanted to make a song for my grandson about Saturn's moon. And I was going to do lyrics, but then he like totally lost interest. I'm serious. Like, he'd be there, like he'd throw facts at me, you know, because he'd read books, and he read from a really early age. But and he'd tell me facts about Saturn and Saturn's moon, Titan, and all this stuff. And I was like, I'd be cool to make a song about that. And he lost interest, and I continued the thought. And I just wanted to make an instrumental that was kind of in the kind of Black Sabbath-ish. Yeah. But I wanted to do it an instrumental after he lost interest. And and one thing Tommy hasn't talked too much about is that besides whatever we record, all of his guitar solos are always improv'd.
Yeah. I was going to get to that with the live stuff, but yeah.
When we play live, he never plays the same, and that's from Frank Zappa. And Tommy loves Frank Zappa, and I'm not the biggest Frank Zappa fan, actually. So that was when he
Bit of
got.
an acquired taste, I would say, but yeah, that's okay.
Well, it depends. He has songs that are amazing, you know. And Frank Zappa was really into improv, though.
Oh yeah.
There's
yeah.
clips of him talking about it, and he's an underrated guitarist too. But
Extremely.
where was I going? Oh, Saturn's Moon. So I did the Saturn's Moon, and I wanted to be kind of like almost like a doom rock kind of a song.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was going to I wanted to make a video for a live performance of it. And I was just searching. I always search for free stuff in the Wiki Commons so that I can reuse it. So I found that NASA thing where they do the probe, and I thought, hey, I'll have us be in the middle of it. and then I'll have a dumb little story in Star Wars style.
I love the Star Wars crawl. I was like, okay, guys, just you're gonna go watch it obviously after this because now you have to. But like, it is so funny that that this. Well, I won't ruin it, but the fact that you guys were plopped in the mid, I was laughing. I thought that was so funny. Like it's like ta-da! This is what it was all for. So no, well, first of all, just as a very quick aside, I would love for you to give a shout out because his mom, I think, has a photography, right? Is that
oh yeah, my grandson's my daughter. She's
okay. I wasn't sure if it was your daughter or your daughter-in-law, but she does a very cool thing, guys. Now, I will just very quickly preface this by saying, Greg's autistic, I'm autistic, like our kids are, it's like we're big fans of being autistic around here because we kind of don't have a choice anyway. But I mean, I love this concept for this business, and it would mean a lot to me personally if you guys went and loved up her page. So why don't you just take a second, Sean, and tell everybody about this very cool project.
Yeah, so my daughter, she's done it a couple times already, but for free, she takes pictures of children for parents that have kids with special needs, not just autism. Because I forgot the name of there was this other thing that's similar to autism that she took some pictures for.
Fragile X or...
I don't remember.
We don't have to go through disability roulette or whatever, but diagnosis. Yeah, it's fine. It's a any kind of special needs photography. It's like a pay what you can kind of thing, right? Is that sort of the?
Well, that's what she asked. If like she at our last show, she asked the other band. She said, "If you want me to take pictures of your show, you just pay what you can, and that helps." To cover those with disabilities that can't afford it, and so she tries to just pay for her camera equipment and save up for a new lens because lenses are super expensive.
Oh my god!
But it's called picturing, and her name's really cool too. Picturing inclusion, yeah. And she
so guys, she's on Facebook. Okay, so I want you to look up Picturing Inclusion. I think there's an underscore in there somewhere, but I'm not entirely sure. And we'll make sure the link is available too. But that is a business not even a business because it's not making her any money, but that is a project that we want to support. Okay, so friends of the show, friends of mine, friends of Forebodings. There's a large overlap on the Venn diagram there. Go love up Sean's daughter's business or, project. Maybe we can turn it into a business. No, absolutely. Yeah, but so I love that came out of, little man's at least temporary space obsession. So you got a song out of it, but so was the decision to make that instrumental purely down to, okay, well, he's not jazzed by this particular topic anymore, or did you just find that it lent itself more? Because I got some Hendrix in that too. I got some definite Hendrix out of that. Yeah, I really did. And I loved that there was no vocal on that because first of all, I know you said doomish, but like I heard bluesy definitely in there. Like I heard bluesy, then I heard rock, I heard some metal bits. I definitely heard like "Are You Experienced" Hendrix. I heard all that, and the solo is pretty bluesy. Tommy, or am I high?
No, that's for sure is. I was playing. I was going for a bluesy feel there. That was definitely.
But then later you have the other solo that I think is maybe more rock. like a little
Oh yeah.
more?
Well,
Yeah.
I try like to start off slow and kind of build up to playing more, faster licks. I'm not like a shredder or anything, but I like to do that. I like to have it slow, kind of build up. I thought that'd be cool for the song. Fits with what we're doing, I feel.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so Ray, for you, like putting the drums together, because it's when you're putting a song together, sometimes you start with drums, right? Like, okay, we've like, here's our groove, this is what we're doing. But it sounds like for the most part, you're getting handed, guitars, vocals, lyrics, whatever, and then you have to kind of go back and go, and reverse engineering a drum part like that is not necessarily the easiest thing, because it has to be your feel, but it has to be true to the song. So like when they hand this shit to you, like what do you do? What are you like, okay, how do you figure out what you're gonna do if dad hasn't mapped it? But I get the sense mostly it's you. So like what's your process there?
Usually, so what we'll do is first they'll like kind of just play it for me a few times, and then
Okay.
I'll just listen to it. Then I'll like
Okay.
I'll try and think of like first like like a rhythm or a beat to come up with first that will match that thing. And then
Yeah.
as I'm playing that and we go more and more into the song, like each like specific part, I think like if there's something I can add to like this part of the song. So I start like with like a bass beat, so that way like I have something to just play throughout the song. But then
Sure.
as the more we play it, the more I try and like add something, like I'll hear them do something and then be like, oh well, when they do this I can do this then.
Yeah, you add your flavor. Yeah, totally. Totally. No, I feel like I saw a video of you at some point where you were being played something and just kind of sitting at the kit and maybe feeling out what you were going to do. I might be wrong about that, but I feel like I saw something like that where you're just kind of like, okay, here's Ray laying this down. So I mean, like, is that how is that for you? Because I mean, it seems like when you're writing drum parts, you're always writing it to something, except for this idea that you have that they're definitely going to make sure to make time for, because now they've mentioned it, and I'm going to bully Dad and Tommy into this. But like for the most part, like that, I mean, that's a really, difficult way to get into writing drums for songs. It's like because you have to match feel and genre, and you have to listen to the lyrics and get because the drums, people don't realize how much the drums signal the feel of a song, because like if you have something that's supposed to be sort of doomy and heavy, and then you're over there, like it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Right? So, see, Sean, I can do it too, but I mean, so like is that, how do you like doing that, where you are kind of inventing around something that exists already, or like is it really hard, or do you just like that's what you've always done, so you're kind of like, yeah, that's that's fine by me.
I like it some. It can it depends. I like, because in a way it's nice to already have like so they'll already have their part, right? So then it's nice to be able to have something that like is just already there for me to work off of.
Sure.
Rather than like trying to start with a drum beat and then work off of that, because like with a drum beat, like whatever you play, it can go like a lot of different ways. Like if you just play a standard beat, that can, like, for the guitar and the bass, that can go in a lot of different ways. They could do like anything to that. Well, not anything, but like,
right. No, but within reason. Yeah, sure. I know what you mean.
Yeah, within reason, you can do like almost anything with that. But what's nice about like doing it afterwards is like, so the guitar and bass are already somewhat figured out. So that way I can go in afterwards and kind of just play something that fits that, and knowing it having that it's this going to be like this kind of rhythm in mind, I can add things like accordingly.
Yeah. No, that's and I mean, like, yeah. Go ahead, Sean.
I was just gonna say, like in the song we listened to today, when Tom and I are doing the scale riff together.
Mm-hmm.
When he first played it, he was probably just going like, you know, the typical bass snare.
Go ahead, do it. Now that I know you have that special skill, I'm going to make you do that all the time. But yeah, more of like a standard. There you go.
But he started doing where his drums follow that line, the toms. So when we do that part, he doesn't do it right away, but we do the first 6 notes. And then he starts joining in, and he's just going.
It builds that urgency to it, and I love that's like almost tribal. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
yeah. No, I think like it, and I was going to ask because you mentioned Optimism is almost more like a jam song, right? So like, how often do you guys just jam? Like, do you always sit down to work through something that one of you is writing, has written, or do you guys just sit down and play and jam sometimes, and do you ever get songs out of that?
We jam. No, I mean we've made a couple songs actually from jamming.
Okay.
I say it's a mix of both. Some like if someone has a song idea, you know, we're gonna be like, all right, let's work on this, let's get this down. But sometimes, you know, we'll like end a practice and be like, let's jam for a bit. Yeah. And songs have spawned from that. I mean, typically we always are meeting up to practice probably what we already have. But I mean, at the end, we always are just like, oh, we've been playing. I want to keep playing kind of, you know, so we just jam and a couple of songs have spawned from that. So, I mean, definitely.
Yeah, actually, I think part of Optimism, that song, I got to get it up soon, but part of that, I think, kind of did come from a jam session, and we haven't been as much playing just because we used to just do a lot of just, hey, let's play some 12-bar blues.
Oh yeah.
And see where it goes, and sometimes it like goes all over the place and crazy, which is fun. I love that. I love just messing around.
Well, I mean, then that creativity can launch a lot of stuff. So, but you guys don't do that so much anymore. Not it's just like a time issue.
It's time. There's a few things. So my grandson, who is autistic, lives with us, and he has sound sensitivities.
Oh yeah, that's a big deal, especially yeah.
So we have to. Lately, he's been better with it when we have our stuff in our garage. So we've been playing a little more. But this year's the first time we got so many shows. So we have to kind kind of practice for the shows.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you guys are busy. So I'm gonna have to hook you up with some headphone and earbud recommendations for little man too, because that can we've dealt with the sound sensitivity stuff before, so I feel you on that. Some of that stuff can, if he's willing to wear it, will make a big difference, like those noise canceling headphones or whatever. Like, but anyway, but okay, so you. There's that's a big thing. But yeah, so I mean, how do you balance that since you guys have so many gigs you need to be rehearsed for?
Well, we were renting, there's this place that has drums. They have drums and they have amps. You just bring your guitars. But it's like $30 for
I was gonna say that adds up. Yeah.
It adds up. Yeah. And then we had all of our stuff at my mom's house, but she lives an hour away. So it's like,
oh yeah, that's
if we're going to practice for an hour, that's 3 hours right there just to get an hour of practice in.
Yeah.
And even the studio is like 40 minutes away that we rent. So we finally just a few weeks ago put everything in the garage. And I've tried to sound. Yeah. So hopefully we've been getting a little more practice in, and with that, as soon as my daughter's working to get a house, which is, I don't want to get all the housing market in Colorado is outrageous. I don't know if it's
everywhere.
Like that
everywhere. It's ridiculous.
So
people will put a cardboard box with like a little AstroTurf in front of it, and then they'll get like $200,000 for it or whatever. I hear
No
you.
kidding.
It's absurd. Yeah. So
But
okay.
when they get their place, we'll have a whole basement where like we can have all of our stuff. We don't have to worry how loud it is,
Right.
and then we'll get a lot more practice in. But
Okay.
but
Okay.
I do miss that's my favorite. Well, not favorite, but I really like when we just fumble around with stuff.
Oh yeah.
Improvise and fumble.
Yeah.
That's
No,
what-
well, and that's got to be part of why you're playing out more because you get to actually do that. Then
Yeah,
you're
that'd be
out and you're
super
playing
fun.
together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I do want to get to the gigs in a bit, but I wanted to just because we there aren't too many songs to go through, so I wanted to make sure we hit all of them. But like, so I think I'm not willing to say it's definitely my favorite, but Secrets is right up there for me in my
Okay.
favorites. Big fan of that song because one of the things I love about it is that it manages to be both retro and modern at the same time, which like right there, very cool. Okay. And I'm hearing some Sabbath. I'm getting like Roger Waters vocals in that one. It's that low, whispery kind of great. Yeah. And I can never ever pronounce his name correctly. Is it Tommy Iommi? Iommi? How am I supposed to?
Yeah. That's right.
Tony Iommi. Yeah.
That's how I say
Tony
it anyway.
Iommi. I don't know why am I saying Tommy.
No.
Tony Iommi. That's
Tony
the
Iommi.
guitar I hear. It's that low, growly
really?
guitar. That's the tone that I'm
That's
hearing,
cool.
right?
That's
And
awesome.
this guitar solo is so beautiful. It's lyrical and it's lovely. And I don't know if you know this song, but there was a song that I loved, like, I don't even know now. It's like 20, 30 years ago by Alana Miles called Black Velvet. And it's this very sexy, slinky.
Yeah. I love that
And
song.
that was the drums were all that for me. It's like that. You just put that almost, it's not tribal, but it's just that. Dum, 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 and it pulls you in. And the whole thing just comes together so well. And I probably played that one because I got to work through everything, so it takes me a while. So I usually make sure I listen through before I repeat. But I put that one on repeat right away a couple times because I was like, this is a very different song for you guys. Like a very different song for you guys. So who wrote that? Was it a collab? Like, where did that one come from? Because all of a sudden it was like, oh, and what we're doing this now. Like now, we'd been over here with Cream, we'd been over here with Floyd, we'd been over here with, what, and then Secrets. So okay, they're pointing at you, Sean. So that's a dad song right there. Okay.
This is another one of mine, and I actually sung on it too. And it's the you nailed it. I was going for the Roger Waters, kind of the wall, the kind of
I heard it.
talk singing. Yeah, you nailed it. And you said also the Black Sabbath reference was perfect because I tuned the guitar down a full step.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So to get a little bit of a lower kind of sound on it. And it actually, this one was influenced by a band called Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats.
Okay.
They are a doom rock band. I wouldn't call them metal, but that were highly influenced by bands like Black Sabbath and Wasp. They list as another influence, which is weird, but they're a lo-fi band, so they don't do too much studio production.
Right.
Like when you listen to their songs, the bass drum, it sounds like a bass drum, and the snare sounds like a snare, like if you're in the room. Yeah, I'm sure they do a little bit of manipulation to it. Like
you usually have to just to, just to get all that artifacts out. And
there's so many overtones and the echoes that come out of a bass drum just played. Mm-hmm. So my guess is they do a little bit of studio, but they're pretty lo-fi otherwise. Okay. And that's something I really like. They're one of my favorite bands, Uncle Acid, of a newer band.
They're awesome.
Tommy, both these guys like him too. But so that song Secrets was kind of like, I want to do an Uncle Acid and the Deadbeat song.
Okay. I heard all those bits. I really did. So that was intentional. I see. Okay.
And this is one of our few songs that I just did on my own. The boys were busy doing stuff, and I had the idea. Okay. And but we've played it live. Tommy plays his own solo live. That's
right.
Different. than what I did on the recording. But other than that, and when we do it live, because we don't want to bring two guitars or sit there and retune, we're playing it in E standard, and I can't sing. That's too high for me.
High for you, yeah, yeah.
I tried it once, and we haven't played it, or have we played it again since?
No. Oh yeah.
You might
So
want to just
Tommy's
bring a
gonna
second guitar with you. Oh, Tommy, you gonna do?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
he's
because
gonna.
you could get up in the rafters there a little bit. I think you could handle these.
I think you could do it.
that. Yeah, yeah. No, I love that one, and I love that when I take a shot at the things that I hear, and you've heard me say it 100 times, Sean, but like I only make comparisons when they're favorable, you know. But I love that when I say stuff like that, and people will go, "Yes, that is what I was," and I love that you know you can do that with music. You can have an idea and an intention, and make something that makes somebody that's, you know, hundreds, thousands of miles away, whatever, hear the thing that you wanted. That's one of the coolest things about music to me, is just like, you know, putting all of that in there, but then also being able to make it your own. So you put that one up against the one, The Sinner. Okay. And like, again, we're in a totally different feel at this point. Okay. So who wrote that one? Was that Tommy?
That was me again.
That was you again.
Me.
Okay. Because again, I got some Metallica. I also got, don't be mad at me, a little bit of Joan Jett.
No.
Oh, really?
From where?
I did. I heard a little bit of I Love Rock and Roll. I did. There's something about the bounce of it. I'm not entirely sure why. But I did get Metallica and Joan Jett, weirdest like baby ever, whatever. And again, I get some Sabbath. Like I hear that a lot. As a through line from you guys. But and it's just, I mean, the guitars on that are nuts. Like nuts. So that's you, Tommy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that one, because like, again, the feel sort of switches back and forth. You got that sort of metally, dirty breakdown in there. Like, did that one come together? Was that all you? No, it started with you, Sean, and then it was. So did you collab on that one, or?
So yeah, on that one, I think I had the main verse chorus, and that the chorus part inadvertently is kind of Black Sabbath-y. Well, yeah. But Tommy actually suggested the middle part that goes into the faster part.
Yeah.
He suggested doing that, and I was like, yeah, that fits perfectly. And so that was his suggestion, to do that whole middle part. And the tempo changes there, and then so this is one of our songs that does have a tempo change, besides Saturn's Moon, I guess. Mm-hmm. But it goes to that middle fast part.
Yeah.
And again, that was Tommy's idea, and I really liked it. I really liked that addition. I was like, that's great.
Yeah. Well, and I
then
feel
we
like
gotta drop in that tempo, though. That's so hard to do. It's like we all have to drop back to that starting tempo from going through that fast tempo.
Right.
And that's kind of like.
Yeah, no pressure there, Ray.
No
pressure, but you have to nail that tempo. That is and again, when you play that live, that's got to be like a nail biter, right? Like, are we going to get it? Or are we going to get, because it is so drastic, you know, it's really, and you're not even easing into it. It's just, and you're there. So, but and again, just, go ahead. No, go ahead.
That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah. You like that.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I get nervous for sure, don't get me wrong, but my when I'm doing it, I tend to settle down, and that's one of my favorite songs to play. I love that one. Yeah,
I could see. What about you, Ray? Is it fun or just entirely nerve-wracking as the drummer to play that one?
No, I like it. Okay. It's a fun part to do. I mean, it can be sometimes like off-putting, not off-putting, but like it can be hard to like go from, you know, right into it, because it's just like the second it ends, it just starts up.
Oh yeah.
But it's fun to do though. It's going to that fast part and just playing like that early fast part for a couple of measures. Yeah, pretty fun.
Well, and the crowd reaction too has to be fun because they don't know where you're going and they don't know where you're going to end up either. So there's something very high wire about that. That's got to be an adrenaline kick when you're playing that one out. It's just like, I love when I talked to the Wormwood Project, Aubrey was talking about this idea that like they have a song like that where, first they have one that just starts off very, very fast and then they have to drop into the right tempo and it's the same kind of thing, and the idea of like, or when you have this insanely complicated drum part, you have this insanely and then you realize at some point you're going to have to do that live, and it's like, oh crap, maybe we should, but you guys do pull it off. And I mean, I keep saying we'll get into the live stuff, but I feel like we've mostly covered everything. That we didn't talk about Hell Right really, but that's my Dio Metallica song for you guys, like big, right? Like the vocals are almost punk. Like it's like screamy punk, whatever, and that even just the intro. Tommy, you had fun with that one, did you not?
Oh yeah,
you just see, I can do it too.
It kind of is punkish in a way because I wanted it to be fast. Like is likewise even. I mean, it is like the shortest song I think. Yeah. I love it though. I wrote that a while ago, actually, like a long time ago, and I just like kept it in my head for a bit. We're thinking about songs, and I kind of was playing it. I was like, oh, I remember this one thing I did. So we played it, and it's just fun. I mean, that one's just always fun to do.
That's a big boot to the face, that song. And I love songs like that's like a Louis Tivy thing where it's like you're in, you're out. It's very quick, but it's like it makes a big impression. Like there's a lot of bang for the buck on that with the short songs because you couldn't listen to something like that for like 8 minutes. It doesn't need to be that long. Not because it's bad, but just because it's so intense and you're like, but I love that one just starts off hard. It's hard all the way through. Like the guitars are just screaming all over the place. And then like you're out, and it's like, whoa. That's very, very cool. But I do want to cover before, we get into starting to wrap up this, you guys are playing out a lot, as we said, and that's always a good thing because that means people want to hear you, which, yay, that's very encouraging. But like, I also wanted to, as we talk about that, because we were mentioning, Tommy, how all the solos that you do are always improv and, you're not playing the same thing twice. I kind of wanted to let you geek out about guitar and guitarists and solos and styles a little bit, because I get the sense that you are a student of certain guitarists, certain feels, certain vibes, certain, I mean, as we were saying, certain guitarists specifically, but like when you're that, if I'm right about that, when you're that enchanted by certain people like a Zappa or, like a Terry Kath or whatever, like how do you find your style? How do you find your, this is me, this is Tommy, this is how I play? Because I do hear EVH, I do hear all of those guys, but you're not just imitating them. So you're clearly landing somewhere. But so how much like is that just thought? Is it just feel? Is it both? Like how do you kind of land on where you're going to go? And then leading into the idea of like, you've played these songs, hundreds of times, but you got to come up with a totally new solo for something. So how does that all work for you?
Well, for starters, that's the best feeling. I love improvising. I kind of do get on myself like maybe I should write some solos, and I probably will, because it's good to have that. But whenever I play live, improving is the best ever, because like Frank Zappa. Well, I've always been into improving. Oh, since I started even learning guitar, I've wanted to make my own stuff. So I would learn 3 chords and then I'd somehow try to mix and match them so I could make my own song. So I definitely love learning stuff and figuring out how I can use it. So, I mean, that's why my favorite guitar player of all time is Jason Becker. That guy is the coolest guy of all time. And I mean, there's some stuff, I can't play a lot of his stuff, but even from him, I try to find stuff I can play of his and try to make it my own. Black Sabbath is my favorite band of all time. Tony Iommi's influence on me is crazy because I think he doesn't get enough credit as a solo player because he's a great riff master. And I wouldn't say, he's not a shredder or anything, but how he formulates his solos, they always have a great feel to them. They feel awesome, they're cool, and they sound cool. And I learned part of these solos, like from Tony Iommi, from Eddie Van Halen. I don't even think I really learned full ones. And I learned part of these things. Everything I like that I hear, I try to learn it or figure out a way to make it something unique. And that comes back to Frank Zappa. Frank Zappa, improv master. I mean, this guy's I seriously think, one of the most underrated guitar players ever. He can play. He can really play, and he knows what he's doing. Son, Diesel Zappa, he gets it. And he did this YouTube course, like he did these things about improvising.
Yeah, I was always into improvising, but at that time too, the most popular guitarists in the world were writing solos and composing them and performing them note for note in the songs, and that was cool. And I used to do that on my early records and stuff, but my dad never did that ever. He just always preferred to improvise, and I thought it was so amazing that he had this vast vocabulary and could play for 11 minutes and never repeat himself.
And like I said, I've always improv. In my high school jazz band, I'd improv, but it gave me some tips that I tried to keep in mind. I mean, I wish I could remember specifically, but like I said, sometimes it's feel. Sometimes I know exactly what he meant. And I think a lot of improv is feel, though, because it's kind of more like you learn to improv by, you learn these small solos, you learn how to add stuff, you learn these cool licks. But when improv comes down to it, you're there, you're on the spot, and you have to think, out of all the stuff what can I do to make something sound put together to make it sound interesting? And that's why it's so exciting. I mean, it is a test of your skill. It's a test of what you can make up right there, what you can make sound good with all the stuff you have. And so I definitely there's licks I definitely use that are from other guitar, like Tony Iommi, like he does certain things, and of course I use it. But I think every good guitar player does that. Every good guitar player learns so much and tries to make it, but like trying to make it your own, some people really struggle with it. For me, it's all I've wanted to do. I wanted to make these things that I thought were cool, and I wanted to make something just as cool, not necessarily the same, but something just as cool. So it's always just been like, how can I make up something cool that will impress people, kind of.
No, and I love that, because I hear you saying that you're listening, you're learning, you're studying, and then you're kind of synthesizing that with what you're feeling and what's just purely coming out of you. And I mean, as somebody who taught for a really long time in a way, this idea that we learn skills that when you put them together, they end up being bigger skills, right? So you have to learn how to like push and pull. You have to learn how to twist and turn. And then when you put that together, you can put a key in a lock and turn it and open your door, and it's a whole new thing, right? And I know that's like a really dorky whatever, but like this idea that what you're doing is you're taking these component skills, like, okay, I'm going to listen to, Eddie Van Halen shred for a while, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to listen to Iommi, who's lower key, but like maybe a little bit more intellectual, and things are a little bit more crafted in a certain way, and I'm going to listen to Jason Becker, and you're pulling all this stuff. And then I truly believe that anytime we listen to music, whether we're doing it consciously or not, we are studying and learning. You absorb things. And it's why when people will take, an Ed Sheeran or whatever to court for like, oh, you stole this from this song. It's like, well, but did I though? Or is it just, this is something that I heard 10 years ago and it seeped into my subconscious. And then I'm at this moment writing this new song, and this sounds like exactly what needs to be there. And you're not putting together that it's from something that somebody wrote 50 years ago that you listened to. You know what I mean? So I believe all of that, that everything that we listen to musically, we absorb, and it influences us. But I love that, Tommy, it excites you so much to get on stage and do a thing that terrifies a lot of people, and it's funny because like, even in my band, one of the guys will say like, I am not somebody that likes to just iterate solos. Like, I will learn a solo, and I will plan a solo, and I will write a solo, and I will do it, and I will knock the doors off of the thing. But please don't put me on stage and make me make one up. Like at the please don't make me do that. And then we have another, our other guitarist is like, yeah, I don't want to I'll just figure it out when I get there, you know? And it's funny. It's like, you know, there are two kinds of guitarists, right? But like, I love that. I love that that's what excites you about it, is just, you know, sitting there and saying, I could write this, I could plan this. And I hear what you're saying, that, you know, that's not a bad idea, because if nothing comes to you in that moment, or you're not feeling well, or it's just, you know, you have a certain amount of time before the next band is going to load in, and you just got to kind of, you know, get in, get out, whatever, you have it ready to go. But, you know, and it seems like, Ray, you do that too, you know, this idea of like, all right, I'm, and that I think is the main thing about being in a band that's just so friggin' cool, is when you listen to each other, like not just hear each other, but when you really listen to each other and you get into that space, and you guys know that space that I mean, where everything is just clicking, and like you're not even really thinking about it. It's just, and there's nothing like that. But when you listen to each other, you know, Ray, you might throw in a fill, or you might take it to a tom instead of something where you usually did, you know, and or like Tom, you know, Tommy, you might go, you know what, instead of making this metal, I'm just going to smoke this out here and make it bluesy for a minute, and be able to do that, you know. And and I love that, because when I was listening to your stuff, one of my favorite things was listening to the official version of it, and then listening to you guys play it live. And it's like, you can tell it's the same song. It's got the same bones. And, you know, and I think a lot of that is down to Ray really holding it down, you know, but then it changes into something. And then I was laughing, because there was one clip, I don't remember which song it was, but you guys get to this moment where it's like, I gather, always this big guitar solo at the end. And Tommy, you're on stage and you're in it, you know, and we got your, and then all of a sudden you just kind of stopped, and Ray and Sean were just like, ta-da! You know, like I guess we're done. And what I loved about that was that you all laughed. And another band that wasn't as comfortable, that wasn't as confident, that wasn't as secure in their skills might have been like, you know, and I've been in those bands where the guys are like, they just want to fall through the stage and die because then something like that happened. But it was such a great moment, because like there was all this like energy and tension in the air, and it's like, okay, Tommy's up, he's walked up, he's got the guitar, he's going to do it. And then it was like, so I don't remember what that was, but it was so, and I love that you put that up too, because like bands that have skill and personality always go farther than bands that have one or the other, right? Like you want both. And you guys look like you're having such a good time on stage. And that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. Because if you're not having fun on stage, the audience is not going to have fun. They're just not.
Yeah. Yeah,
No.
for sure.
So, I mean, out of the two, is live, that's it for you guys? Like you would do that all the time if you could, or is it more about the writing? Okay, it's live. Okay.
Live.
Ray,
For
you
me,
too,
it's
Raymond? You also, you prefer the live stuff? Okay. And you guys have a show coming up that we should talk about, because anyone who's in Colorado could get there. So why don't you tell me about that?
So most of our shows have been kind of in our little area, and we're in an area called Northern Colorado. But we got hooked up with this other band we just played with, Into the Gray. They told us that they were playing December 2nd in this area closer to Denver. So it's a suburb of Denver called Thornton. It's going to be at this place called the Trailside Saloon. So we're branching out from our little area here a little bit.
Look at that. It's a tour. It's a national tour. It's a national tour. There you go. But listen, Adam, Punk Rock Panda, maybe you guys can hook up and amplify this gig a little bit, because I know there are people watching and listening who are not that far that could go and see the magic of Forebodings live on stage. And then we can all live vicariously through you.
Tommy gets into this headbanging stuff and kind of goes crazy.
Full rock star, absolutely. Yeah. Selling it. And the fact that you can shred and sing and headbang all at the same time, and you don't just end up falling off the stage, I find very impressive, because I feel like that's walking, chewing gum, and also, I don't even know, playing hopscotch or whatever at the same time. But No, I think, and for those of you who are not close enough to be able to get there, you can see live stuff on YouTube. It's there. They are not on Spotify at the moment, but their YouTube has plenty of stuff, and so does their Facebook page. So you guys can definitely go and love them up on all of that. But before I let you gentlemen go, Sean, I think you know what you're in for here. But guys, you may or may not be aware of this, but I do end every episode with a little segment we like to call In the Vox Seat. So I have asked every single musician who has been on this show, and I think we're at 40 something episodes at this point, so it's getting to be a lot of musicians. I've asked everyone the same 5 questions. Usually they hate at least one of them, and Tommy, I know exactly which question you're going to hate me for, and Sean, you might too. And I will mention ahead, because you are still young and you have your lives ahead of you, and I want to make sure that nothing befalls you, that the last question, as Dad can attest, has become very controversial. Okay. And so you're gonna win some fans and lose some fans depending on the answers to that. But because there are 3 of you, you might be able to cover the spread. We'll see. But let's start easy-ish. Okay. For each of you, each of you gets this 5 words. If you have to describe Forebodings music in 5 words or less, what would you say? Whoever wants to go first.
I would just go down this one.
5 words.
5 words, okay. Fun, loud, creative. Fun, loud, creative. I would say energetic, and I would say, this is hard. I would say for the final one,
it's not as easy as it seems, is
that
it?
Is
it's
hard.
Not.
That is hard. I got 4. I was like, I could get 5.
Yeah, fun, loud, creative, energetic, and you don't have to come up with a 5th one. Personality. There you go. Personality. I like it. All right, Sean. The guitarist has determined that you are next. So.
All right. Yeah, that's fair enough.
It's your moment. It's your moment.
See, heavy rock, I'd say raw. Lo-fi, maybe.
That's a hyphenated. I'll give it to you.
Improvisational.
Okay. Oh, and I especially like that when you put it together with Tommy's list, because we're getting all those bits there. All right, Ray, favorite thing, being put on the spot. Here we go. 5 words or less.
Varied.
Okay, very good.
Sure.
4 more.
Varied.
I think he could do the math on that with the things.
This is hard.
Yeah. Don't worry. People 3 times your age have stressed over this, and so you are not alone in this one. You also can repeat words if any of those resonated with you. It doesn't have to be all new ones.
Okay, fun, lively. Let's see. I don't know.
Just whatever comes to your mind.
I know. You know what? I'm letting you off the hook. That's good. You're good. We're good. I think varied was like so good. It was like 3 words on its own. So I think you're good. We're that's we can't get better than that. I love it. But you guys all landed in a similar place, right? The idea of high energy, and it's you mix it up, and it's not one thing, and it's a blast and whatever. I like that. Okay, so. All right, we're going to let Ray go last on everything unless he wants to go first so you guys don't steal his ideas. But so the next question is maybe a little easier. For each of you, your favorite thing about being a musician?
Everything. Playing guitar for people.
Okay.
Live.
Yeah, live. For anyone, not even if you're at my house.
Oh, that's
for
true.
you.
Yeah.
Anything.
Okay. You're like, the Uber guy comes to the door and you're like, and that's it. That's all you need.
Yeah,
okay.
I got a song.
All right.
I like playing. I like
okay.
live. Sorry.
Okay. No. But okay. So it's also playing live for you.
Well, more specifically, the gigs that we do, because it's like stress up until you play, and then once you get on stage, it's fun. And
Yeah,
that part I
yeah.
really, really like.
Yeah, it's like a ton of fun, book ended by two of the worst things that humans have
Yeah,
to do,
yeah,
which is
for sure.
load in and set up and then break down and load out, like the worst things ever.
That's
And I
for
gotta
sure
think, I
the
gotta
worst.
think for Ray, that's that's the but okay, so what about you, Raymond? Favorite thing about being a musician?
I'd say it's the creation aspect, whether that be through improvisation or like when we're actually making the songs, or when we're even just jamming, doing something new and different each time.
Cool. See, look at that. He didn't even give the same answer the two of you did. He had
Yeah.
a whole other thing. A whole other thing. Okay, but so now the flip side question for each of you, your least favorite thing about being a musician, if you have one.
I do get like I love doing it, but I do get extremely nervous right before I go on, like pretty bad. So probably that. I don't. Yeah, I get all like shaky. I get pretty nervous. So
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, that's the thing is like you can't tell adrenaline whether to make you excited or terrified. It's just kind of there. So I think that, it's like I think once you get on the stage, if you turn that into like excited, which you clearly do, either that or you're hiding it really well because you don't look nervous at all when you're on stage. But like I think it's all that anticipation. I know that feeling too, where like you're just about to play the first note or sing the first note or hit the first thing and you're just like and then all of a sudden it's like okay.
yeah,
Here we are. And then it goes so fast, right? It's over so fast.
Feels like
It's
5
over.
minutes. You're done already.
That's it. It's like you wait for weeks or months or whatever, and you're like the whole day. You're like, "Is it time? Is it time?" And then you get there, and you're like, "Wait, we're done. We're on the last song." I know that's like I always we don't play out live anymore. We do live online, but like I do miss that bit of it, just being like, "Oh, we're done." So okay, what about you, Sean? What about you? Least favorite thing?
Least favorite? Is it valid to say I just wish I had more time to put into all of it?
That's
Is
1,000% valid. Oh yeah, and you are in good company on that. We've had that a lot. Just like the work life balance, the having more time. Yeah,
It's hard. It's hard to find time to both be creative and practice, and like there's so much other stuff, the social media stuff. I'm kind of bad at that.
But it's a full-time job though. It really is on top of, and anything that's like the business side of it kind of sucks, so it's a lot of time to spend on something that isn't playing or writing or okay, so I there are people in the chat right now feeling you very hard on that one, just finding more time. So all right, Raymond, here we go. This is it. Least favorite thing.
Least favorite thing.
I like that he has to think about it. It wasn't immediately there. That means you like most of it. That's a good sign.
Yeah, like I do get like nervous, but like for me it's not as bad because I can just get up and play. But I guess it's more the things that don't involve playing, I guess. Just the stuff you have to do around getting to like a show or getting to a concert.
Loading in, is that what you mean?
Yeah, even loading in or
loading in.
I was gonna say you would be the first drummer not to mention load in and load out as their least favorite thing. All the drummers are always like, it's the gear, it's carrying the gear. It's because you can't use a house kit usually, right? The house kits are usually like it's like a pot lid and then like like a bucket or whatever, and then like everything is falling apart. There's never like, you rarely go to a place that has a great house kit. So do you usually bring your kit with you, Ray, or are you blessed with good house kits when you guys do play out?
Usually we have to bring our kit for like shows and stuff. There's a couple times where they'll like provide a kit, like the last show we did, they had a kit just ready. But
it was the other band's kit.
It was the other band's
kit. One band. Basically. So
that's smart. Yeah, because you get. I've been in those situations where you have like a multi-band bill, and then like inevitably the drummer in the middle wants his own kit, and you're like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, we do not have time to disassemble and reassemble and disassemble and reassemble. Like, please don't. So yeah, okay. So you like the playing and the creating, but not all of the stuff that goes around it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like as much.
Yeah, that's valid.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with you either. Okay. This is the question I think Tommy's going to get mad at me for, but we'll see. He may surprise me and just have an answer right away. But for each of you, if you had to choose just one album to listen to for the rest of your life, he hates me right now. Look at the face. What album would it be? And why? Do you still want to start with you and go down, or do you need some time to think on this one, Tommy? Because people hate this.
No, I know already.
Okay, all right. What is it?
I would take. Yeah, okay. I would take Pink Floyd's The Wall, because that was the album I started with, got me into everything. So
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like if I had to choose, might as well choose that one. It's a great album. I love it.
Okay. I did not know if we were going to end up with like a Zappa Hot Rat situation. I didn't know where we were going, but you've gone with the Origin album, and I like it. And it's a great one. It's a great one. So, okay. All right. He didn't blink. That could have gone either way, but he did not blink. All right, Sean, you knew it was coming. You may have prepared, but it doesn't look like you did.
I should be prepared for this, but I'm going to go with one that that I actually haven't listened to a whole lot.
Okay.
But I do like it. And I think there would be so much I could keep discovering every time I listen to it. It would last quite a long, long time.
Okay.
I think it would be what does it have? Well, now, like the other part of my brain is going to. Does it have to be rock?
No,
I might pick like anything. I would probably pick like some like the London Philharmonic playing Beethoven's Fifth or Ninth.
A curveball. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We're going
all these new things every time I would listen to it. I would be like, oh, there's that fugue or whatever that he put into there.
Yeah.
Or I never noticed the oboe was doing that weird thing right there. I just think there'd be more discovery in something like that than.
Well,
so I changed it.
Yeah, no. I was like, that's not what you were gonna say, but okay, you changed it. You swerved it at the last minute there. Okay, I see. Because we did allude to it a little bit earlier. Ray did that. You guys do some classical stuff. So did you want to just talk about that for a second before we get to? I'll give Ray a minute to think on this one.
It's not really classical. Like we did this. We went live. It was disastrous. We tried to go live on YouTube. And,
I saw that in I didn't know it was happening at the time, but yeah, I saw that on your social media. What was disastrous about it? Just the tech didn't work, or?
Well, so we like I have this interface, and so Ray has an 8-string tenor uke, so each string is doubled basically. So it sounds more like a mandolin. They're nylon strings. I studied classical guitar, and I have a classical guitar.
Yeah. And
Tommy has a steel string. So we have this piece that we wrote, and it's obviously instrumental, but it's more like a Renaissance medieval kind of period piece. And it was inspired by the poem and the movie Sir Gawain and the Green Knight.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it's very medievally, and it has 3 parts, and it does a round. So there's a melody that I start off with. Halfway through it, Tommy picks it up. Then he picks it up. Then I'm already changed. It's like a simple fugue, if you know what a fugue is.
Yeah.
And then it has like these other parts. Well, the disaster as part of it was I had thought we'd done a good sound check. But then when we went live and played, like I couldn't hear the uke at all. And
oh no,
I don't know what changed.
That you can't do that. You really, I mean, more than even just usually playing together, you really have to be able to hear each other if you're doing a round. Like that's not viable.
Yeah,
so unless you're looking at him and going, okay.
Yeah, it was bad. We're gonna try it again. We'll work it up
Yeah,
again. But now we
definitely.
have
And promote it a little bit more and let me know so I can help so we can actually all watch it.
Sure.
Yeah, because that one sneaked
Will
right
do.
by me. I did not even know it existed, but
No
and
worries.
then it was done. But yeah, and you're like, no, that was by design. Like it didn't go so well. So but okay, all right, this is it, Raymond. Your one album for the rest of your life. What is it and why?
Rocket to Russia by the Ramones.
Really?
Yeah. Interesting.
It has.
pick.
It just has so many good songs that I like on it that I could just repeatable
Did not
songs
see that
too
coming. Okay.
I didn't
Okay.
either. I didn't see it.
It's
I thought he was gonna say Rush or something.
I like Rush and I like a lot of other bands, but I don't know. Ramones songs just are songs that I feel like I could listen to forever because
Okay.
like a lot of Ramones songs just have that a charm to them.
That's an interesting choice. I don't know that anyone's ever called the Ramones charming before, but so is Hellright one of your favorites then, based on that?
All right.
That or Optimism
Okay.
because of the fast.
Okay. All right. Wow. So all right. I yeah. Each of you surprised me in a way. Tommy, your album didn't really surprise me, but the fact that you were able to land on one so quickly, given your like broad musical, not that you don't all have them, and then Sean, you even surprised yourself just at the last minute there. But okay,
Yeah.
and Ray just taking it in a whole other direction. Did not see it coming. All right, guys, this is it. This is the last question, and I cannot underscore for you how important the answers that you give to this particular question are to certain members of our chat. So you're going to have to bear with me for a moment because I have to settle the crowd. Freaky, you are not leaving, okay? And I know that you like them and you don't want them to screw this up. We get it. Dom, I know you're resigned.
It ain't over.
It ain't over
buddy.
till it's over.
It ain't over.
Oh,
yeah, King.
Let me
All
jump
of
up
a
in
sudden,
here.
I'm hosting a WWF thing all of a sudden. I understand it. Just everybody take a moment. Leave Shannon Darcy alone. Okay, here we go. Now, since you guys are a family, this may be all the same answer, but we'll see. We'll see. Your toilet paper roll. When you put the toilet paper on the holder, does the toilet paper come from over the top, or do you pull it out from under the bottom, and why? Sean, I'm gonna have you start. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Because
Okay, sure.
I think we
So-
have a little bit more of a sense from you in the chat where you're going with this. So I want to save the blockbusters for the bookends there.
We're the other category, and it'll be random. Like nobody pays attention to it. And then a lot of the time it doesn't even make it to the holder, and it's just sitting on top of the
tank.
It's just sitting on top of the tank. So that's sideways. Now, during yesterday's show, or during the live show, the last one,
yeah,
I looked up the patent, and it shows that it's supposed to go. The original design was supposed to go over the top.
Yeah.
So we're other, basically.
Other. Are you answering for everyone? Because the thing is, there is if you are all in the same house, there is a decider that puts the toilet paper on the roll, but it might not necessarily be the way your children would do it for themselves. So I need to check in with them. We cannot have a blanket answer. I'm going to need to hear from Tommy and Ray. Over, under, or something completely other than that.
What do you say?
Well, it's definitely other because it's on the freaking it's never really on the stupid thing.
Okay,
it's always behind
so you are tanking it. Okay, all right. So we have two official others. Ray, are you thirding the other?
I mean,
okay.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I always looking for the toilet paper. Oh, it's over here.
Because everybody's too lazy to put a new one on.
Well, no, but and just so you guys understand, because again, Sean, you know this, but Tommy and Ray, you do not understand the level we've had. I believe, if I'm counting correctly, You three may have now put the other category ahead of the unders. I think we may have just because it is a, pardon the expression, given that we're talking about toilet paper, but it is a blowout. Okay, there's like 40 something people who are in the over army, as they've come to call themselves. And Joe from Freaky Things is the king of the over army. Okay. Right. Then we've got maybe around 10 people, I think, at this point, who are in the under army, of which Dom is the leader from Jamsteak. And then we've got all the others. And the others are like you guys, where, you know, you're sticking it on the tank. We've got Joel from Grimrock, who's putting it on paper towel holders just to be different. You know, people who don't care, they put it on differently each time. We call them Birolius people. They will. And then we've got its own category, Dean. Dean from the other Broken Ones, who is, as I like to call him, and very literally in this particular instance, a shit goblin, because Dean will go into bathrooms, and whatever way it's on the roll, he will flip it the other way. So if it's over, he will flip it to under. If it's under, he will flip it to over. And when I was interviewing the other Broken Ones, I said, we cannot even put him in the other category. It is just Dean. So we have over, under, other, Dean. So you guys, I do believe we will have to, we'll check the screen here once Greg has done the math, but I believe you guys may have just advanced other, over, under. So holy crap. Advanced other, over, under. That was a very interesting turn of phrase. But so, okay, you guys, they are a 3 for 3 other family, and you cannot do anything about it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Oh my gosh, Sean, you guys were so wonderful about rescheduling, and I've been looking forward to this since we had to move you. I think it was back in August. So thank you again for being so patient and for being as supportive as you are of the show and the community in general. And Tommy and Ray, it was so great to meet you guys, and I hope this wasn't the weirdest thing that's ever happened to you. Although with that last question, it might be, I have no idea, but I'm just so glad that you three came on the show. And really, everybody, go like them on Facebook, go subscribe to them on YouTube. You know, you're going to want to keep an eye on this band. They're too young, Sean included, for you not to watch the trajectory. Who knows where they'll go? No one knows. It could be to a point where they actually choose a way to put the toilet paper on the roll. Anything could happen. We just don't know. But thank you guys again so much for coming on and talking to me today.
Thank you. We know you're busy, so thank you for having us.
Oh no, never too busy to help the indie community. But all right, that's it, guys. That's another Vox and guest in the books. We'll see you next time. Bye.